Since this is my first project, I found this project here in the design market, the BMO design or the FLUX Design Market. And it does say, it tells you here all of the different lasers that you can use it with. So it does work with the BMO, which is what I have. And it says it's an easy project. So I went ahead and downloaded that, and now we can jump over into Beam Studio and go ahead and get started with like the layout and stuff in Beam Studio. And I can just come over here to this image decal here and find my image. So I've got the summer stirs set, and it uploads as an SVG. So we can go ahead and open that. All right, so here we have all of our stirs, and you can see why that it was layered, because there is a cut and an engrave layer, which is great. I'm glad I uploaded it that way. And there are a bunch of different options. So we have a pineapple, a palm, we've got a seashell, a turtle, and excuse me, a guitar and a flower. Again, I want to just do one of these because I'm testing this. This is my first time using acrylic. So as you can see, all of my engraves are one piece, and all of my, like the actual cut files are one piece. So I'm going to come up here to, I think it's not tools, edit, and then we're going to go ahead and ungroup the file. So it does warn you that it might take a while, so we'll say yes. All right, and then I also want to ungroup the engrave. So now that we have those ungrouped, I can go ahead and I can come here and I can take all of these and I can just delete them and get them off. So now all we have is the pineapple and the pineapple stir, and we can go ahead and do what we need to do here. Okay, now that we have just the one design on here, we're gonna go ahead. I did a little bit of research and stuff for acrylic, and I'm going to adjust my settings. So for the engrave setting, I'm just going to click acrylic engraving. And then for my cut setting, my acrylic is 1/8 of an inch. And so doing some research, people recommended starting with a power of 33. And then they said 8 millimeters per second. And mine's in inches. So I'm going to do the 0.34. And then they said 1 pass count works. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here, and then we are going to go ahead and I'm going to add my material to my laser, and then we can do the preview. So here we are over at my laser, and you can see that this is my acrylic. It is masked on both sides, and it is a cast acrylic. And you can see the color on the side. So because we're doing the pineapple, I went ahead and I'm using the yellow. So we're gonna place that here inside the laser bed, and then I am going to go ahead and measure. So there's our little thing. We want that to obviously be a little bit lower so it's actually touching. So we're just going to move that a tiny bit just so that touches. We don't want it to be like stuck. We just want it to touch. So you can see that touches, but it still moves out of the way easily. So now that we've got that in there, we can go ahead and scan our laser bed. Now we're gonna go ahead and click up here. It's connecting. We're just gonna go ahead and scan the whole bed just to get an idea of what it looks like. Okay, now that the bed is scanned, I can go ahead and select my object, and I'm just gonna move it. I wanna waste as little of this as I can. So I'm gonna move it lower and over to the side there. I'm gonna close the lid on my laser, and now we can come up here and we can press the play button. That's gonna give us about how long it's gonna take. So it says it's gonna take 54 seconds, which does not feel very long at all. Go ahead and click start. Hear my air filter turned on. It's doing the engraving first. Okay, now it's ended. So I'm gonna go ahead and open this up. That come close to cutting at those settings. So we're gonna try a different setting. Okay, so that did not do the job here with that cut setting. So let's go ahead and we're just gonna come here to Acrylic 2. And that has a higher speed, or actually a lower speed, but a higher power. And we'll see if this does any better. I don't need to do the engraving, I don't think, again. So we're just gonna go ahead and do the cut. Okay, so now it's doing a second pass, and it honestly looks like it has already cut through. We'll go ahead and let it finish, and then we'll check it. I'm wondering if the acrylic 0.1 would have worked. Okay, this is finished. Now, the great thing is, because I did not lift this or like touch it at all when I noticed it didn't cut through, it was able to cut right in the exact same spot again. So now you can see we have this adorable little stir. Now it does still have the masking on it. So we're gonna go ahead, let me grab really quick. So I'm just gonna grab this little weeding tool and see if I can get it to lift a little bit. I don't want to scratch the acrylic. So I'm just gonna come here along the edge. See if I can get that to lift up a little bit. There's that part, so you can see the yellow. Go ahead and do the same here on the back. So there's the whole back. It looks really cute. There is still tape here on the front, and I've actually seen where people use, because it's like a masking tape, they use like a grippy tape to help lift that off. So I'm going to see if I have some of that so I don't have to try to remove all of these, because you can see the engraving. So all of these are now individual little pieces. All right, there you go. We got that all removed. Look how cute that looks. You can see the engraving. Let's see if I get that to focus for us. Maybe put this behind it. You can see that engraving really well. It engraved really well. It cut really cleanly all the way along the edges. So yeah, that looks really good. We are done. Look at how cute these little stirs turned out. I think they are so fun. This was a fantastic first project, I feel like. I feel like when you're trying like something new, you don't want to waste a bunch of material, and you don't want to like spend money on something and then have it not work out. And so finding this free file I thought was great, because it used very little of the material. So I still have a lot of the acrylic in both of these colors that I can use to make other projects. I can finish this cute little set of stirs. And I did want to remind you, while we were going through, I told you that I did some research and found like a couple of different people that had their settings for this like thickness of cast acrylic. And that's what I tried first with the pineapple, and it didn't work. That was the one that said it was going to take like 54 seconds, and it definitely did not cut all the way through. So then I just switched to the settings within the Beam Studio, and that worked great. I just selected the acrylic 0.2, and that cut through. You could maybe mess around with things a little bit and get it to, like, if you increase the power more, it may only need one pass. This one was kind of a hard to tell because it had already done that first pass, and it cut all the way through before it got done with that second one. These ones I used that 0.2 setting and it worked great. So you'll just want to like test. Like, these are a great little project to test on. Kind of dial in your settings, figure out what you need to do. Doesn't use a lot of your material. This material worked great. I had no problems with it at all. And the masking was actually pretty easy to use. I did use that weeding tool, but I used it like, I wasn't worried about it scraping because I didn't have to like scoop it. I was able, like, it just kind of slid. And so that worked really well. But I have heard people use like Gorilla Tape or like things like that, like a duct tape that's a little bit like tackier, and that peels off when you have those little pieces. So like on the turtle and the pineapple, so like the turtle shell and the pineapple have like those little, where it was like all cut into those little pieces. So that would probably work really well with those. The only thing that I would say is that with this being masked on both sides, you'll want to make sure that you know exactly what color you're using. I felt like when I grabbed both of these out, I felt like this looked a lot more green than what it actually is. It's definitely more teal. Perfectly fine. I don't have a problem with that. I think the colors look really cute together. But if you were making something where it really did matter, you may want to either, I feel like holding the color up itself, or the piece up itself, the color looks way more, like it's obviously more noticeable. When I had them in the stack and I just pulled them out, it felt like it was more green. So if you're worried, I would just peel back like a little bit of the corner of your masking, and then you can look at it and get a good idea of what that color is. And you're not going to cut like all the way to the corner of your acrylic like that anyway, so it shouldn't cause any problems. But this was really fun for me. Next project, I have an idea in mind, and I am definitely going to try the white acrylic. So white and clear are two colors that you cannot cut with a diode laser. And so I am going to test that, and we'll make the next project, see how well it does. I'm really excited about it. I expect it to go just as well as this did, because with the CO2 laser, you can cut all of the colors, so you don't have to worry about what color acrylic that you're using. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I will be happy to answer them for you. And if you found this helpful or you enjoyed this video, I hope that you will give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much for being here today, and I will see you next time.